Okay, so for today's video, we are going to go over how to make your writing more interesting by having different sentence types. So I use my writing plan that's hanging up in the classroom to create this essay. If we look at it just really quickly, we notice that most of my sentences all end in periods. They're pretty average sentences, kind of boring. I want to spruce them up. Spruce them up just means to make this essay better. One easy way to make it better is by having different types of sentences. So I want to make sure I have some sentences that are questions. I want to make sure that I have some sentences that are exclamatory, meaning they end in an exclamation mark. And I need to do these things to help improve my essay. And it's something that they look for as well when you're taking their high stake tests. When they're grading your work, or when the robot or the AI is grading your work, it's looking for various sentence types. Now, one thing I've seen people do is they go to a sentence and they just put a question mark at the end. That doesn't make this a question. So let me read the sentence to you. Dogs are super protective. They can help fight off bad people. Question mark. Just because I put a question mark at the end of that does not make it a question. This is not a question, so I can't just put a question mark on there. That's a statement. Now, we are going to work on, I am going to show you how to make this into a question. And so, because I'm doing an opinion essay, whenever I make a question, I want it to be a question that's the average person won't say no to, right? So when you're trying to prove a point, you're trying to persuade people. When you're asking a question, you do want to ask questions, but you don't want to ask a question that they can just say no to. You want to set it up so that it's something that most people wouldn't say no to. So my idea is that dogs are super protective. They can help fight off bad people. I'm going to make this a question. Now, a regular question would be, would you like to have a dog help you fight a bad guy? That is a question. But a lot of people could still say no to that, right? They're like, no, I don't want that. But let me change it to something else. I might say, wouldn't it be nice to have um, extra help fighting off robbers or fighting off criminals? Now that most people are going to say yes to, right? If you're fighting a criminal, it'd be nice to have extra help. If somebody says no, they're just being silly. But most people would say yes to that. So those are the type of questions that I want to add. I want to add questions that people are most likely going to say yes to. So let's keep practicing that. Let's go to the next paragraph. It says dogs are loyal to their owners. Dogs have a loving hormone. The more you play with a dog, the more loyal they are to you. Dogs are always by your side when you need them the most. Dogs like living with a family because they are pack animals. Okay, so I want to add a question in here. Let's see what I could add. So this idea, this sentence, I'm going to change it into a question. It says, dogs are always by your side when you need them the most. So I might say, when you're feeling sad and lonely, wouldn't it be nice to have a best friend that will always try and cheer you up? So I took that same idea as that dogs are always there when you need them, and I made it into a question. And again, this question is something that most people are not going to say no to. So think about when you're feeling sad and lonely. It would be nice to have a best friend that would always try and cheer you up, right? That's something that most people would say yes to. So when you're doing a persuasive essay or you're putting your opinion out there, you can definitely ask questions, but you want to make sure that your questions are things that people are most likely going to say yes to. Okay, I'm going to add an exclamatory sentence to this paragraph as well. Dogs like living with a family because they are pack animals. I want to change that. Do I want to change it or do I want to add to it? Let me decide. Dogs like living with a family because they are pack. Okay, so I'm going to expand on that. I'm going to say when a dog when you have a dog as a pet, let me change that. When you have a dog as a pet, that dog, actually I'm going to put that you are part of that dog's pack. You are part of that dog's pack. Let's see. When you have a dog as a pet, you're a part of that dog's pack. So that really shows that that dog views you as part of its family. Not just that you view the dog as your family, but that dog also views you as part of its pack or as part of its family. Okay? Okay. And I put an exclamation point at the end because that's something that you want to kind of show stronger emotion. Like, wow, you're part of that dog's pack now. Like, that's a big thing, right? When dogs are wolves, we mean dogs are descended from wolves. So when they live in packs, being part of the pack is a big deal. You're part of that dog's family. It has loyalty to you. So that's a big deal. There's excitement behind that. So when you have a dog as a pet, you're part of that dog's pack. I'm showing excitement behind that. That's why I ended it with an exclamation mark. All right, so let's see what I can add to this next paragraph. So it says dogs are really playful. They like to play all the time. Dogs love to play fetch. Dogs like to play hide and seek too. You can teach your dog to play tricks. This will build up their loving hormones. So I might say, actually, I think I'm going to add an exclamation mark instead of a question, or exclamatory sentence instead of a question here. I might say, if you teach your dog cool tricks, you can make TikTok videos and become internet famous. That's an excitement statement because a lot of people like being on TikTok or YouTube, whichever one you want to put. And that's like a big thing, right? It's like, oh, you could become internet famous if you have a dog and you start teaching it all these cool tricks. You guys can look on TikTok or YouTube and see these videos of dogs doing all these cool things. You could be that, right? So that's an exclamatory sentence because we're showing excitement behind that. Let's see. Could I add a question in here? Let's see. Dogs like to play hide and seek too. So in here I might say, and again, a lot of my questions are going to be, wouldn't it be nice? You can think of different ways to say that, but wouldn't it be nice? Because when you say that, wouldn't it be nice? You're already putting people in the mindset like, yeah, that would be nice. So they're more likely going to say yes to your rhetorical question. So I might say, wouldn't it be nice to always have, I'm going to change that, to always have someone to play with when you're bored, to always have someone to play with when you're bored? That's my question. And most people are going to say yes, right? That's a question that it's going to be really hard to say no to. Most people are going to say yes to that question. Yes, it'd be really nice to have someone to play with when you're bored. And then I'm going to answer that question and say, well, then you should think about getting a dog. Getting a dog. Okay, so I just added more details in there. Okay. Next paragraph. This is a short paragraph, so I want to add some stuff to it. Dogs are super protective. They can help you fight. Dogs help chase away robbers. Dogs can bite attackers. Dogs are also great bodyguards. They're always by your side. What could I say? I'm going to add a scenario in here. I'm going to say, if I was being attacked by a stranger, if I was being attacked by a stranger, I would love to have a dog to help me fight. Then I'm going to say, wouldn't you? Because again, most people are going to say, yeah, I would if somebody was beating me up, or not necessarily beating you up, but if somebody was fighting you, right? It would be nice to have any kind of help you can get. And dogs are usually going to be right there with you. So That's a great way to add a question into there. Make a scenario or a statement that most people are not going to say no to. So, again, when you're creating your questions, you're making them questions that most people are not going to say no to. So, we're not going to say, do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? Because that's easy to say no to, right? So, you want to set up scenarios, set up scenes that people most likely won't say no to. All right, so we went over how to make your writing more interesting using exclamatory sentences and questions. So go ahead and use these strategies in your writing.